So here is how it goes. Day 1 of a 7-day cruise, and everyone is boarding and trying to get their bearings and general orientation of the ship. My wife and I asked for directions to our cabin so we could drop off the few small bags we carried on with us. As the crew member who was stationed near the lobby area of the elevators gave us directions, another guest and his wife overheard as they passed by, and I then heard the gentleman say to his wife, "How stupid do you have to be to not understand that if your cabin number starts with a 7, it means your cabin is on deck 7? I let that one go. We all waited for the next available elevator, and when it arrived, a few people hopped on, including the asshat that mumbled about us being stupid for inquiring about the location of our cabin. As my wife and I gathered our bags to join them, I asked for someone to hold the doors but was greeted by the same voice declaring, "Sucks to be you," and watched as he purposely reached for the elevator floor buttons, encouraging the doors to close in our faces. Taking the next elevator, we made it to our cabin and dropped off our bags and got acquainted with our room. I noticed how simple the remote control to the generic flat-screen television was. Very basic, and for some reason that struck me as interesting for such a luxurious ship. We left the room and went up to Lido deck for a quick lunchtime buffet. It was there that I saw Mr. Asshat without him seeing me. I kept an eye on him with the purpose of simply being able to avoid him, but then I decided that I would really like to know where their cabin was. I didn't know at the time why. I just concluded that that information would probably be good to have. So I excused myself from my wife and followed them undetected until I discovered the location of their cabin. Thankfully that did not take long because that was their next stop. They were one floor below our floor and nearly in the same position but on the opposite side of the ship. After that I was relieved that we would probably not have very many more encounters with them and quickly rejoined my wife. My wife and I spend a lot of time in casinos, and this trip was going to be no different, so after dinner that night, we freshened up for a long night gambling that would most likely not end until about 3 or 4 in the morning. While waiting for my wife to get ready, I began examining that remote control again, and I deduced that those overly simple TV remotes were probably the same in every cabin, and as such, the remotes would probably work on any TV on the ship if they were brought close enough. I put the remote control in my pocket and we went to the casino. At approximately 3:30 in the morning that night, I tested my theory. I visited the door of Asshat's cabin and pressed the remote control against it and hit the power button. To my delight, the television sprung to life inside their cabin, and I could see the blinding light of it from under their door. The volume buttons worked just as effectively as the power button, and the volume on their TV reached maximum level in a quick second. I listened as startled people jumped from their bed and scrambled to find their own remote to shut down the disturbance. It was my pure bliss for 7 straight nights to shock them from their slumber with no one the wiser, because why would they ever suspect it was caused by anything outside their cabin?